We're back, and we're here with my buddy, Braden Little, and he's showing us the how-tos on sourdough. How are we gonna get this going?
We need to get our starter ready. We gotta get it nice and fed.
Cool.
Okay, so when we're making the starter, we're gonna need a scale to weigh everything, an empty glass to put the starter in, and then we're gonna need our starter. And so with this starter, it's 100% hydration or hydrated, so it has equal parts flour and water in it. So what we're gonna do is I have 300 grams of starter in this, and the recipe calls for 250 grams of starter. And so I'm gonna put in 125 grams of this starter into this so that we can ferment it with flour and water. And the way that I got 125 is I divided 250 in half. And when you're feeding a starter, you're gonna want to put in as much flour and water as you took out. So if we need 250 grams for our bake, we're gonna need to have 125 grams of fresh flour and water, and 125 divided by 2 is 62.5. So we'll have 62.5 grams of water, and then we'll have 62.5 grams of flour. Okay, so we're gonna need the clean cup, and we're gonna weigh out 125 grams of starter. And it's good to know the weight of your jar, just so that at any stage of the process, if you forget a calculation, you can kind of work back from the weight of the jar. So I'm just getting this starter that I previously had fed, nice and worked around. And it's a messy process, so just expect to get stuff all over your hands. And when you're adding water, just be mindful of the temperature that you're pouring it in. When I tipped this, it was like 78. It's like 77 now. So when you temp it, be mindful of the temperature, because depending on how warm the water is going to kind of factor into how long your starter is going to need to ferment. So if it's warmer water, kind of like in the 85 degree to 90 degree territory, it's going to be a shorter fermentation time. And if it's a little bit colder, it's going to be longer.
All right, Braden, we got this nailed down. What's the next step?
So now we're going to do about 4 to 6 hours of waiting.
Okay, well, we'll see y'all in 4 to 6 hours. So it's been 4 hours, and magically, our starter changed jars. What are we doing next?
Okay, so we want to time our starter to its peak fermentation with our auto-lease dough. So about 3 to 4 hours into our starter rising, we want to get flour and water ready. We're gonna weigh out 100 or 750 grams of flour, 750 grams of bread flour, and then we're gonna have 605 grams of water. And the way that we got these measurements is we want there to be 80% hydration. So 80% of 750 is 605. And so this mixture of flour is 700 grams of bread flour and 50 grams of rye flour. And so we're gonna wanna pour in our 605 grams of water, but we're gonna wanna keep a little bit at the end, just so that when we're mixing our dough and folding it, we can kind of dip into that water to slick our hands so that we don't add any extra water to the recipe. I forgot to weigh the water, dude.
All right, Braden, so we've got this, which is our starter that we've had sitting. What is this? What are we doing?
This is our auto-lease dough, so it's been about 45 minutes. The flour has hydrated with the water,
okay.
And so it's gonna be a more hospitable environment for this starter to just go and heat. And so a good way to do it is, so this is our 250 grams of starter. We'll pour it over the top.
And you're just working this together right now, right?
Yeah, we're just working it together so that the starter can just mix and incorporate with the final dough. And then when we incorporate the salt, we'll add the rest of this water.
Okay.
Okay, so now that we have our starter mixed in with our Annalise dough, we're going to pour it out onto the table.
Beautiful, let's do it.
And we're gonna start slapping and folding. Okay, and so when you're slapping and folding, you're gonna wanna have your arms, your hands, pick it up underneath it, twist it over to the side, slap it down, and then fold it over. And we're gonna do this for about 3 minutes until the rest of the starter and flour, the glue mix together. Okay, so you just tell me when you're ready.
Alright, you know what? I'll fuck this up.
Okay, and it senses fear, so just know that if you're nervous, it'll know.
So, up, twist.
Slap it down. Right hand back.
Okay.
Left hand over.
Okay.
Pick it up, twist it, slap it down. Up, twist. Down,
over.
Maybe, is that, yeah, twist it. Now we're gonna bench scrape everything into the bowl. We added our salt, and now what we're gonna do is we're gonna dump it back out onto the table and do some more slap and folds.
Cool, alright, something I can watch.
Oh my god. This is a rye sourdough.
Okay.
And so when I'm making loaves, I've noticed that the rye has a tighter crumb compared to like whole wheat and sourdough, or whole wheat sourdough. So the inside of it is going to have smaller bubbles, whereas the whole wheat one is going to have more of the like typical
the big holes that you see whenever you cut into the sourdough.
Yes. Okay. I just personally like rye, and I like the taste of it, and so that's kind of what I wanted to make today.
Heck yeah. Alright, so we've stretched and folded this multiple times. What are we doing now?
Now we're gonna wait for another 4 to 6 hours.
Okay. Alright, so we have been stretching and folding this bread for 4 hours?
4 to 6 hours.
Okay. And so, what does that do to this dough?
So it just further develops that gluten, which is the protein that is developed when flour and water are mixed together.
Gotcha.
And so we've let it sit for 4 to 6 hours, and it is now doubled in size from what it originally was, and that's what we're looking for.
What's next?
So we're gonna take out this dough, we're gonna divide it in two, and then we're both gonna shape it into small little bowls.
Alright, we've got it separated, and we've floured our bannetons. I'm assuming we just toss them in there?
So before we do that, what we wanna do is do one last fold, do the tartine shoelace fold.
Let's go.
Okay, so first we're gonna try to just stretch it out a little bit. If it gets stuck, don't worry, just let me know, we can scrape it up with that.
So we're kind of just stretching it out, almost like you would pizza dough?
Yeah. Okay, and now what we're gonna do is we're gonna take the bottom half like this, and we're gonna try to fold it up halfway.
Okay, I've seen this before.
Yep. And now we're gonna do the right side.
Right side.
And we're gonna do it halfway again.
Okay.
Yep, and now the left side.
Beautiful.
And do it all the way. Yes. And we're gonna take this end of the burrito. We're gonna put it 3/4 of the way down.
Okay.
And now we're gonna take, this is the shoelace part, we're gonna take both ends.
Okay.
We're gonna flip them and tie them together like that. Yep. We're gonna do that on the middle part.
Okay.
Tie it. Yep. And then one on the bottom.
Okay.
And this is the part where we need the bench scraper so I can do it. But basically, we're taking the top, folding it over, and then pushing it back under to make it a nice fold.
Okay.
And that should develop like a nice little air pocket in it.
Got it. Alright, we've got a scenery change. What are we doing now?
So now we're gonna put a little flour down on this parchment paper. This is our rice flour, it's just really fine. We're gonna dump our bowl onto the parchment paper.
Cool.
put a little bit of flour on top so that we could have a little ornamental, artisanal sourdough.
And that's like the nice little flowery designs and everything on there.
It's
Love
the
it.
part where everyone's like, oh wow, you must have put so much time into this. And it's literally 2 seconds of scoring it.
Okay.
And then we're just gonna put it in the oven.
Love it. Okay, lid on.
Let me push, sorry.
There you go.
Because what that was okay,
Go.
let's go.
Beautiful. Nice.
Nice country loaf.
All right, we just took our bread out of the oven. It looks beautiful. But how do we know that it's done?
So we're looking for a nice kind of like brown golden crust
Okay.
on the outside, and then what you can also do is give it a little thump, and if it sounds like it's hollow, then you've made a fermented beautiful loaf of sourdough.
Bro, great job. It's beautiful. Thanks so much. That was the greatest and most awkward high five handshake. Whatever. We're here. We're having fun. We made some bread. Heck yeah, boss. Thanks.
Okay.
There we go. It's really fun because here's the thing. I would have started off and gotten 2/3 of the way through this, and whenever I had to sit there and fucking try and flip it,
Yes.
I would just be like, no, brain doesn't work. I'm out. But it's so fun now seeing everything that goes into making sourdough. That's awesome.
And the best part is like when you're eating it, you're just like, I spent like 2 days getting this ready. It is immaculate.
Yeah.
It's so good.
Oh my gosh. I love it.